Hey, this is nice. If you caught us early, we are just getting set up and just getting the party started, or something like that. Ring, 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 ring. Banana phone. And the thing, I do this with so little caffeine and so little adulting. Adulting is overrated. Yeah, I see that lovely. I see that lovely gray hair there. Trade ya. Yeah, I have it up here too. Join the bum, 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 ba-da, bum, 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 ba-da. Join the party, everyone.
Via Discord
We're
this
doing it
way.
live. We're doing it by ourselves.
That's right. And we all know how good OBS works the first time you try it.
OBS is a treat for sure.
You would think, okay, I'm getting some bloops over here. Just one sec. Okay, there we are. One watching. I closed the browser. So we started talking about this before we went live, but what games are you playing these days, Sean?
So my primary is Universes. So that
Mm-hmm.
is what used to be Jasco now under UBS Games. It is it's the IP fighter at the end of the day. Originally released back in 2006 was Penny Arcade, then moved into Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, and SNK.
Mm-hmm.
Down the road, they added in more licenses. Try to remember, they added in Darkstalkers at one point. And at one point, another Fantasy Flight bought out Sabretooth, ran under Fantasy Flight for a while. Fantasy Flight then went with their ultimate decision to burn all collectible games and go to the LCG world. And at that point, went to obscurity for a little bit before being picked up by Jasco in 2010. Jasco's, I think, main launch was Mega Man at that
Oh,
point
okay.
into this. And then from there, it's been Mega Man. It's been a return to Street Fighter. It's been Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho. Then got that kind of relaunch under My Hero Academia.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And since then, we have gone back to Cowboy Bebop, gone to Trigun. We have searched the lands with Critical Role. We have re-entered Yu Yu Hakusho in the Dark Tournament. And we are slowly making our way in the next week and a half into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So you're not playing much at all.
uh, Beyond that, it is I do usually pick up a new set of the new Star Wars, so I keep up to date with that.
Yep.
I do dabble a little bit into Altered. I need to get my account linked up with my board game arena through work, so I can
Right.
start playing online that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I did pick up Union Arena for Full Metal Alchemist, because I do like the IP, and I'm planning on switching over to Yu Yu Hakusho in October.
Cool.
So that is that is my most stuff, with the exception of Hero Clicks, which is another side game for
Oh yeah.
kicks and giggles and that. I really wish they would get back to Dice Masters, because Dice Masters is a pretty decent game as well.
Hmm.
So I do have a little bit of that.
We opened some Dice Masters a couple months ago, actually. Some of the Avengers Dice Masters.
Mine was the ones I picked up were it was the D&D set. One of the D&D sets was pretty good,
Hmm.
actually. And then I started picking up the ones from there up to the last like Marvel set when they rechanged all their design.
Yep.
But I've been kind of keeping an eye on out for displays for Yu-Gi-Oh as well. There's supposed to be
Hmm.
some good cards in that one. But when they went to the draft format for the boxes, I thought it was really, really good, because now you have a display where you can either draft it with friends, or when you're opening up, you feel like you're getting the value that you want out of it.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good.
I believe their original style was the drop downs, where it's like, yeah, you get like two cards, but you get like one of each dice. At least with the draft format, it was you have two of each dice at least. So
Right.
they're there. Oh, look, we got Jeff already joining us in
We have Jeff and
Damian.
Damien. Hello. Can you hear us both? Can you see us both? Um, just let us know, because as I mentioned earlier, this is my first time hosting somebody on the channel. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, we've opened a whole bunch of different stuff. I guess we're on episode, like for Brian and I, we're on episode 94 or something now. So we've opened a bunch of stuff, a bunch of Genesis, a bunch of Magic and Pokemon, but also things like Warhammer, the new MetaZoo, Splatterkins, like you and I were talking about before we went live. Um, last night, it was just me on the show. Brian couldn't be there, and so I decided to pick the I don't want to say the worst thing I had, but the thing that neither of us really cared to open, and it was two starter decks of Nostalgics, and I think they
Oh,
just missed the mark.
how'd they miss the mark, if I may ask? Before
Well,
we get into our longer conversation.
they were. I understand what they were doing. Like they called it the interdimensional custom card game, so they were trying to bring in a whole bunch of different things. But what it meant is the set didn't look cohesive. You had doodle art and you had really good kind of CG art, or you had CG over what looked like a photograph with layer. Like it looked like every card was something just a little bit too different, which I think was what they were
Stop.
going for. But it didn't seem cohesive enough to me as a set.
No, if you're world building or set building, that your art's too far off. Like you can look at older Magic sets, yeah, you get that like unique art style every now and again. But if it doesn't fit in the overall world, it does look out of place per
Yep.
se. Uh, that was just in the art. I'm gonna assume how were the starters beyond that? Were they playable? Did they feel look good to open?
They were cool to open. There were some neat mechanics. There were a couple mechanics that would these aren't new mechanics, but they would, you get frozen to a spot you're on, or you couldn't rotate whatever. You couldn't attack, or if you took an attack, it was double. But the game kind of grabs stuff from everybody. So you had the mana build the way that Magic does. You had the evolving the way that Pokemon does. So you evolved from
Okay,
this, which would hit you for one, but as you evolved into the next one, you can hit for three and also do this other thing. And you count your it just seemed like it was like we love all of these things from these games, and instead of developing it really well, we just pushed it together.
together. Yeah, you're seeing that a lot with a lot of the modern card games, kind of where it's like you're seeing a bit of everyone's elements, but at least smoothed out.
Hmm.
Uh, One that's coming to mind right now is Refound, coming later this year with
Okay.
some of their play videos. Uh, I've seen like elements of different games I've played in the past kind of put together, but put together fairly well. One of the debates we do have in my office is starter level products very hard. You either are on the mark or it's the deadest product going, it seems like.
Hmm.
The best starters out there, I would say, were in my time is Final Fantasy,
Hmm.
because you seem to get your place that you want to play. And then I'm kind of liking how Union Arena has been going with it, because I go pick up 2 Full Metal Alchemist decks. I'm going to have a place of all my high level cards. Right again. So, and then Universes does that as well with their Challenger series. Their newer ones do have the rules in it, and same thing. You buy 2, you have your full loadout ready.
Right, and you kind of did with the. I've got the manual still here. Actually, I think I've got some cards still here. Yoink. That's what happens when you don't clean up after yourself.
Have you seen the mess behind me? My goodness.
The hero in the Nostalgics is a fox. It's a little bit dark and it's a foil, but there's a fox in there, and I thought that art style was cool. If that carried through the whole set, I would have felt a lot different. But you get this guy here, which is absolutely Pokemon.
Oh yeah, that's a Squirtle.
And this guy, which is a Pokemon.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a Pokemon.
But then you get this. This was one of my favorite cards, the Squirrel of Distraction.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm already distracted.
But like it's all over the place. We got some Duke Nukem 3D looking artwork here. So
I go more Duke, but Duke Nukem works too.
It just didn't quite go. But the reason I picked it up is it did have a how to play guide in every deck. So you don't have to Google it or kind of figure it out yourself. That's super helpful.
And that's one of the things I've kind of enjoyed with Universes before we get started is that they do have star level product. It's not been really great. Like the characters in them have been really, really mediocre.
Yeah.
At most. Decks are wishy-washy, I'd say, at most. Their last good ones were probably the Tekken ones, but they called them Clash decks. They're a little more meat and potatoes. But their last challengers, which was Street Fighter 6,
right,
actually had a lot of play in it, which was amazing. And these decks are definitely worth their value, and they give you a collector booster pack in as well, where you can pull like an ultimate art character.
Oh, cool.
So they're on the right track for starter product. They just need to flush it in.
The last thing I'll say is I'm really excited for Magic to release the Spider-Man set. It's coming soon. I collected Spider-Man comics for so long. I just want to have the cards in my hand. I don't know how the gameplay is going to be or whatever, but I just want the cards in my hand.
If I can say one thing, I think Spider-Man, like Avatar, like Final Fantasy, will come off really, really well, just in theme. They learned a lot from doing Lord of the Rings, from doing Doctor Who. I think the BBC put them through the grinder very heavily on how they need to represent someone else's IP.
Right.
And they have begun to emulate that further and further and further. So as we go further and further into others' IPs in Universe Beyond, we're going to see the flavor right down to a T.
Right, because you do. I mean, you have to be careful when you're using other people's IP and how you control it, because you get slapped real quick.
Absolutely, especially with Marvel. If you think about how strict they are, Spider-Man will not be Arena, and that will be part of, I believe it's called the Omen Path, I think it is, or what I've heard, where there will be a set on Arena that is Spider-Man, but it's not Spider-Man.
Right.
So they will change that up there.
Yeah, I do recall reading something about that recently. Yeah.
But anyways, why are we here today, Joe?
Well, let's see. Let's see who's in the chat so far. We've got Jeff and Damien. Let me catch up on some chat too. Thankfully, I can hear John. Unfortunately, I can hear Joe. Great, wonderful. Damien's got voices in his head. Excellent.
You know, Randy Orton was here.
Jeremy Heron, hello. So we've got 6 people watching. That's a good start. We've given it a few minutes, about 10 minutes of us blathering on.
Card game loves, right?
So, of course, the real reason we're here is we're all fans of Genesis. And some of us have been around for a lot longer than the rest of us. Like you, John, have been around since basically the beginning, if I understand that correctly.
2018. And there's a few others who are prior to me.
Okay. Yeah, and I only got into it. So when Brian was working at North of Exile, he said, "Come play this cool game that you're gonna like." And I collected Magic as a kid. As a high school student. I never learned to play it because I didn't want to play card games. I liked the art. Little did I know I'd turn out to be a graphic designer, and that's what I do for a living now. But I didn't really have any interest in playing. And then so I went by the store one day and I watched them play around, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but I don't know, I'm not going to do it. Then the next week I went back and I got the free starter deck. And then the next week I went back and I bought like a couple of packs and then a booster box, and then I was hooked. So like
I remember Steve-O coming in because he used to work at Line Ramp at the time. This was an account manager. And I can't remember how the conversation go, but like, there's this really cool game. You got to check it out. Cool. Went to the event in Brantford. Got a Sid to show me it. Started looking into it a bit more. And you got the free demo deck. My starter cost me like $90 on Alpha. So, yeah, that is a spicy meatball. But
yeah,
from there, it was the nights of being at the Heads or Tails in their first location and just doing stupid stuff with Steve-O's mother, Pat, or whoever else would stop by, and just trying really dumb things.
Yeah.
And then from there, it evolved into, at one point, joining their future league. I think it was just be cool for Jalera, and kind of joining at that point, answering, like, just testing stuff and trying things. I remember before Jalera came out, we were doing a draft at Heads or Tails of the second location with I think it was all the Jalera cards, actually, before they were ever out. Had them all printed out. Everybody got their quote-unquote packs.
Right.
And we played Jalera for the first time ever. It was amazing.
Well, and so, yeah, I have some of those, yeah. I have some of those.
I think I said to you as well, like, hey, this is our first testing box in that. Yeah. So,
yeah,
been around the block a little bit. And then at one point or another, I think just after Jay, I think I ended up joining design team would have been Lionel and Carl at that point. So, and then from there, they was working on Raise and getting it going. So,
yeah, so you've had your hand in this pie for a while. I mean, so when I got into it, Origins had come out, so
yep,
everything was kind of established. And I think the crazy thing that I did was I bought a booster box or two, and then I stayed up till 4 a.m. building 8 or 9 decks, just kind of seeing what I could do. Right.
And with the set size of how like Genesis was, you'd buy a box, you'd get most of your rares that you needed, at least one or two up, so you really had a foothold. And then going into a second or third box, you were flushing out your playsets that you needed.
Totally.
So, definitely the value when buying those boxes. So, got through Origins. We had the downfall where everything went to the kerfuffle. We got the Edge of Exile into Invasion, which was a great set. We just talked about the history of the mode. We'll get the Kickstarter in like 2 minutes here.
Totally. But and this is our night. We're in charge.
But I did like a lot of the changes that Edge of Exile did do. I like the brightening of the cards. They make them more appealing and stand out. I know this won't be a popular opinion. I like that my name is not on a card. Because there's about 5 or 6 cards in Invasion that I had lead design on, which did substantially change in how they operated. So, where old philosophy is Assad's was, hey, if you make a card that's overly powerful, your name's on there, you're going to suck it up. In the reverse case, it's like, well, this card might not be as good, or might be wrong, or might have bad interactions now, and my name would have been wanted. I looked at the guy as a prime example, the champion I created. I remember going back, chatting with Shahana about it. It's like, yeah, it's really powerful. Then when they got all nerfed, like, well, it's not that great anymore. Well, settle into its obscurity as, a weaker champion. It's going to happen. We can't all have less ranked champions running around the game. It's
right.
It's never going to be right. But her original ability was for every summon and every alteration you played. Was originally the idea that was pitched. Went to every summon and then found it was too powerful, something called Chrono Walker was in the game, and that, and 7 hit points chronos were a problem, and then it got nerfed down to just the first summon each round. So it went from extremely powerful to a cantrip once per turn at the end of the day.
Right. And to that point, like, you came up with the card concept originally, but like any design for anything, it got refined to be what it ended up being, and that wasn't, at the core, wasn't your design. But you're still responsible for it, because it wouldn't have maybe ever happened had you not come up with it. But it's different than the card that you initially came up with. So I can understand the naming, like having your name on the card, thing.
So we get through Invasion. Invasion's, from what I was saying, was a great release overall. There were folks who were picking up, and then we kind of settled back down into creating into what is now Metamorphosis, and things kind of quieted for a little bit as changes happened, and now we're at the Kickstarter again. So
right, and changes do happen, right? That's the whole thing, is that changes happen, especially when you're looking at ownership and management changes. Things are going to take time, right? Nothing happens immediately, and that's on both parts. One, for the fans, as a player, I wanted the new set out right away. But knowing full well, as a business owner, I know full well that you can't do that, right?
No, it's tough. It's tough to release a set after a set after a set. You have to have that cash flow coming in, and TCGs are a tough thing. Invasion released at an okay time, but where we're at now, there is a lot of options for what people can play, and there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, and I think that's why in the Discord, when it was, and I commented on it earlier, so I won't go too deep into it, but it was, man, if in the future, or in the past, this would have happened. Well, unfortunately it didn't. Let's look at now. Let's look at what we're dealing with now, because we can't fix what happened back then. Whether it is the transition to new ownership, whether it was what happened with old ownership or new ownership, we can't do anything about that. So if this is a game that we all love, and it is, that's why we're here, let's look at now. Let's look at in 3 years from now going, man, remember that thing we did 3 years ago, and now the game is thriving and we've got 4 sets out and blah, blah. Let's look at what we're doing now, right? We look at the Kickstarter. I'm going to pull it up right here. So right now we've got almost just shy of $2,000. So we're at, what's that, 5%, I guess, something like that, which we still have 26 days to go. It's not like 0 people have backed it and nobody's supporting it and whatever else. We'd love to see 20 times this, right? We'd love to see it already fulfilled, but that's not always how Kickstarters go. I've run Kickstarter in the past to raise funds for some stuff. It ended up firing. It went off, but my goal was $5,000, and what I was making was a very niche. It was a set of bookends for graphic designers. So I had to introduce those bookends to people and get them to realize that spending $100 on my project that they had never heard of before was worth it. Genesis has the very strong advantage that people know what it is.
Absolutely.
Right? So
one of the things I've been looking at is so I've been going through both the Kickstarters on and off through the day, and it's an ambitious goal. Like $40,000 is a lot of money. If you look at the original goal for Origins, it was 15,000, I think, was the we're gonna put on all Legends and get you your stuff or your product. So it's definitely an ambitious goal over the last go around.
Right.
And then I think we were discussing earlier as well, one of the toughest things I'm finding here is the number of the different pledges you can do compared to even last time. It's just the things I've been noticing. Like there's 5 or 6 levels of pledges, and right now I kind of question sometimes who are we targeting in these pledges, because it looks like if you go through it, it looks very fan orientated, despite there being a pledge there for like what would be your retail stores.
Yep.
But there's only one there at that time. And then you got the one big mega, which is kind of like your all in.
Right. Yep.
But other than that, there's no other tiers to kind of entice. And then for your unlockables, there's very little.
Yeah, you've got the jersey, which of course I'm biased because I make them. But and for those of you who don't know, I also designed the backs of Invasion. Right, I designed the artwork for that. Right.
It's beautiful. I think the coloring is amazing, so bright, and that's what the game needed.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep, and without being like, oh yeah, I did that. It totally, you're right. It needed something that was fresh, because if you look at somebody else that I'm not going to name that is Magic the Gathering, their back has been the same forever, which you kind of have to do, but it's not welcoming. It's not timeless.
There's only one timeless. Tony Storm. AEW reference there.
Oh man,
I'm throwing it in there somewhere, right? But it's hard to get through a backing change. And very few card games in 30 years have had a backing change. Pokemon in Japan is one of them. We never had a backing change here for it, and I think maybe the WWE card game, when they went from WWE up to WWE, had to change the back there.
Right.
Genesis comes to mind, and Universus, because it started as UFS, it eventually went to Universus under the My Hero Academia. Mm-hmm. And then at one point they kind of merged the two color schemes into one as Universus. So not many games do it, and it is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, and it comes to any rebrand, right? If you look at whoever, Apple or McDonald's or whatever, doing a rebrand sucks. As somebody who designs logos and branding for people, it's really hard to come up with a really good one that's timeless. And then if somebody says, this is my current brand, we want to freshen up, how do we do that without losing the attention of the past customers while bringing in some heritage for that, but also appealing to new people who may not have liked it before? And that's with any brand. So the back of a card is just as much because you see it all the time.
As much as the old logo is iconic to the longer standing players, mm-hmm. there is a time where, again, that's how had to take ownership itself. And that rebranding, that recoloring, that restylization of the layout of the cards, what that step of making it their own. It's not to say that, what I saw had created was not good, mm-hmm. but it needed to level up.
Right, and if it wasn't good, it wouldn't have made it to where it made it. Right, prior to Assad closing, it wouldn't have gotten that far if it wasn't good. And that's something I've said all this time: is Assad was a great game creator. Like, he created something really, really fantastic. There were other shortcomings, which again, that's not really what today's about. But he created a really wonderful game, and that's something that we want to work on to carry forward.
He was a programmer at core. He took that into creating a game. He went into a space that nobody really has gone into. If you think about it, all the TCGs that are out there, not to this level. Mm-hmm. And that man strapped up his boots, grabbed his suitcase, and went and shook hands, which was vital for where the game got to.
Yep.
It was very organic growth that he was doing. And if money probably was a little better at the end of the day, I think we'd be in a far different world.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because sometimes money does dictate the means and the end. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you had to make a decision. Like, it was on the cusp of kind of finding its home. And in 2022, 2023, this game would have found itself at a nice 5th, 6th ranked card game that players would enjoy as well. Mm-hmm. That's where it was at, for sure. But back to the Kickstarter now.
Yeah. I'm going to check the chat here because I haven't been very good at that here. Jeff says he wanted to mention we're among celebrities here. third and fourth place in the TTS tournament. Congratulations to everybody who played at that. I didn't get a chance to, just with client work and everything else and time. But if there's another one being run, I would love to play in it. It's a big ask. I agree. We talked about that. Some sub 50 tiers. Anyone watching this, please give a thumbs up and like button. Yeah, like I'm not going to shill the channel because that wasn't why we're here. But if you do like TCGs and all that other stuff, Genesis and other things, feel free to subscribe if you want to. That's my plug for the night. And the closest was anachronism. Assad said that it was inspiration for it, but the games are iterative of what has come before. Absolutely, like they all feed off each other.
Anachronism, I think, was you worked in columns or something like that. Your cards weren't like, I don't know if they worked in columns, but like you only had like 4 actions or 4 cards you played during that game, and that was how you determined. Where this is like full-fledged, move your cards around, command the board, take your position,
right?
Dominate. It might be the inspiration, but it is 20, 30, 40, 50 fold the game that Anachronism is at the end.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with Anachronism, so I can't comment on that. But so let's say we the global we as Genesis people, fans of the game on the Kickstarter, sell 444 boxes. Right?
Yep.
That's if, technically if everybody in the Discord bought one booster box, we'd get to the goal. If all the stores who currently sell Genesis, not necessarily that have local player circuits, but if they all bought a case, we'd be halfway to the goal. These aren't really unfathomable totals when you think about it. Like, it's not like everybody has to buy $2,000 worth of cards. Right?
No.
These are all achievable goals.
Like, I'm looking at like the Mega Bundle right now for a store that wants to get in to the game. Mega Bundle is definitely a great start. Like, the only thing that Mega Bundle is missing is Stars, to be honest. Stars were in there, it'd be the perfect store entry level.
Yep.
Going forward. The only issue is that stores might already have product and they might not want more of the older stuff, or they can already order it through one of their local distributors.
Right.
But even for a new player is like, I just want to spend money. I could say everybody has $1,000 to burn, but you look at Final Fantasy Collector Boosters and people have $1,000 to burn.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yep.
And it's like, I just want to play a new game. I want to play something different. Like, that is a great entry level. Like, 6 boxes of J, 6 of Origin, 6 of Metamorphosis. It's going to give you an infinite build potential.
Totally.
Over and over and over. Your friends could sit there and play for weeks and probably not get bored of the strategy they're having.
Yeah, and you get, based on the Kickstarter, you get everything 6 weeks earlier than regular. So you can start your deck building, you can start the meta, you can start doing what you need to do. And if you wanted to buy Invasion to go with it, that's already available through distribution.
Absolutely. Now, that being said, like, I was reading that tagline within the Kickstarter campaign where it's like, it's positioning itself as like almost like an early release, and that might be confusing to people as well. A lot of players are going to be like, oh, great, it's an early release. I can spend money, get the box to get them early, or I can wait for the release date. And that might be another thing there. We might be in an issue where people have the misconceptions. Like, there are people who will support their LGS and go out.
So they'll wait.
So they'll wait.
Yep.
And we could have that very confusing happen where people are just thinking it's coming. I've done that before with a product, oh, great, I see it here. I might just buy one and go on, not knowing that the product might not be available after that. So I'm wondering if we're seeing that bit there where the communication within the Kickstarter could be hurting.
Well, and that comes down to perception, right? Perception is going to drive everything. If it's perceived as it's coming out in 6 weeks later anyway, I'll just wait and buy it then. Save the shipping.
Yeah.
Then
save the shipping.
They're not getting anything, right? Sorry, we've got Jeremy piping in here too. I wish I had a few OP nights at my LGS before the Kickstarter. Yeah, and I can see that too, to build up a little bit of hype, build up a little bit more of a player group. And obviously the OP is in the works, which is wonderful. I think that will help drive things more. But to Jeremy's point, you're right. If we had OP for 6 months and then the new set came out on Kickstarter after the OP had built up a bit of a fan base, that would certainly help it. Again, we can't look back at what's already happened, so we kind of make the best of the current situation.
Now, the good thing is they are getting their OP going, and
Yes.
I do like that they are, like, we know there's product available for Origins, we know there's product available for JLA, leveraging that for their OP as well. Say, hey, store, come in, pay the shipping, you'll get product to start. And you'd like you to use your organized play, but you can do other things with it as well. If you want to go have a draft, go have a draft. If you want to do sealed, do sealed. If you want to give a crazy prizing as a party, go for it. Like, you really have that ability. Mm-hmm. I think my only concern when they were talking about that is, if I look at, we're now 2 weeks after the fact, roughly, in their original stream. Like, remember, Jason and Janice are the brand right now, and they really have to. If you ever think about how Sid talked, Sid would, I think, was always constantly thinking about what to say, how to say it, because he knew he was haunted Castle Gaming. And Jason and Janice probably really need to think about that when they're Edge of Exile. They made the one statement that kind of drove me a little nuts. Like, we are putting our money where our mouths are, and then we're coming 2 weeks later and we're seeing, well, there's a Kickstarter to kind of, is it here to, again, get early product to people, or is it here to, fund it? And again, between communications, it's a little difficult. Say what you're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reality is no successful Kickstarter means no metamorphosis, or at least for the near future anyway, right?
But again, like, it's great that we're seeing this here. It's great we're seeing the effort go in.
Yep.
Make sure the branding's on key, though. Even reading through the Kickstarter here, I want to, like, it refers to where the game come from, but I like the tagline, don't just play your cards, leave them victory, but it's like, just like moving a collectible card game, you found it. It's like, that's nice, but let's get to what we're asking. We want to get Metamorphosis out. We want your help so we can push it further.
Right. And that's where wording really can make or break a deal.
Absolutely. Like, one of the goals in here is like, hey, we'll get to that 150,000. We'll go to TCG player. I'm going to be honest. I know there's people who, have put a lot of money into the game because they've collected unique pieces. If TCG player is part of your goal for your Kickstarter, where do things lie at the end of the day?
Yeah, like, I think TCG player gives you some credibility as a game in the scope of how much stuff is out there. It is a spend.
But does it have to be one of those benchmarks on it? Be the question. Like,
right.
There's going to be something that's have to. Well, like, if you look at the last, if you look at the old Kickstarter, you're looking at each of those little goals, and each of them are just incremented perfectly, where that someone can say, I want to get the next order in, or I want to actually increase. I increased my pledge by $20. We're now unlocking all these foil cards for everybody, or we get the coin, and we get the shirt. All those little things that add more and more and more and more value. Is there value added here? Absolutely. Getting that, if you do the one booster box in that, getting one set of the 25 freely printed champions with the KS excluded wing. The serialized cards, which is a great idea. Mm-hmm. But at 200,000, it is a lot of ask for the players as well. And then trying to surpass the last one will definitely be a challenge.
Yeah, and I think that, like, with if you look at a lot of other TCGs, the money is there. People have the money to spend, right? And people will take a risk on a game they don't even know or has never even existed yet.
Yep. You're not,
And that's kind of what happened. But now you're competing with the market that's out there, but you're also competing with the past Kickstarter, and there will be people out there who contributed, who felt stung by previous ownership, who then are a little bit apprehensive just moving forward. And that's not a slight on the current owners or the current company or anything. That's just human nature.
but Invasion did do okay from what I understood from
Yeah.
conversations with Jason and Janice. So whatever thing was there, people were willing to give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Are we just at a point where maybe we're too far past things as well? There's a lot going on in the TCG market. Like, again, I can go play Critical Role Universal. I can go be a Jedi or join the Rebellion or whatnot. I can go be a Universal Fighter. I can be anything in card games right now. Like, card games have exploded since 2022, 2023. There's a lot out there. And that's not including that, again, we came from the other side of COVID, where people had a bit more money and were willing to kind of take those investments. And now we are competing against going to the beach, going to the movies again, taking that vacation. Yep. We're
and
not.
A lot of people had money from the government too.
Entertainment dollars is what I've always been taught as. We're always finding those other things.
Yep.
But let's regress back in that. How can we get this going? Two people, we're here right now. We're talking about it. How can we get it going?
Well, and they're talking about in the chat too is we need to get more eyes on it, right? Because if people see it and go like, hey, this is actually great, to Jeremy's point, whatever the wording is doesn't matter as much if people are seeing it.
Yes.
Right? If we can get people there, they'll overlook some of the wording if it doesn't quite make sense or it's not clear. But it could be perfect copy, and if people aren't seeing it, it doesn't matter. So we need to figure out, and we as fans, we want to help, and it's not our job to do so. Of course, that's where it comes into to Janice and Jason and Edge. But how do we get, as fans or as owners, get more eyes on the Kickstarter?
Well, I guess the first thing you start doing is the stores that are signing for OP, the players being there and talking about it. Saying to their local game stores, like, I want to be picking this up. I know there's that Kickstarter there. Because there's always that thing where, I just got it for off Kickstarter and it's going to damage future sales, which is something that does happen. But also encourage that owners, like, I'm going to be here every week in that to play. So I want to be here. I want to play. Mm-hmm. I want to support it going forward.
Right.
It is strapping on the boots, getting the suitcase out, and as we call it, pavement pounding, right? Going back into these stores who either have a small group still playing and shaking hands and asking them the serious questions. Hey, are you running Genesis? What's your OP like? How do you support games? Because there are stores that are really great for that, and there are stores that couldn't build a community if their lives depend on it, if it's not Magic, Pokemon, or the hottest type. So there is a lot of that needs to be done as well. And then leveraging the stores that are there. Mecha Games is going to hold the championship. Hey, Mecha Games, are you going to go through the Kickstarter that? That's how we're going to fund it to start. Get your stuff out. Here's the bundles you want to be. They just picked up J&J cards in Waterloo, which is massive grab there. Rob Gruber from Good Times Hobby has came back into the picture. I'm sorry, that man is immortalized on a card himself already, and that man knows how to build communities. I don't know if you've seen him on Still Standing, but by God, that guy is Rob Gruber is a pillar in the community of gaming and LARPing. And all.
Well, and I've heard nothing but good things about him. In the past, with the old company closing, new company kind of taking over, right. On both sides of things, Rob was always really highly regarded, and guys like that are going to be spokespeople for the game.
Absolutely, and it's making sure that they're supported and listening to them. They are mentors in this industry, and this could be one of the things that maybe Jason and Janice just. This is going to sound. I don't know what's gone on in the past year, but might be the one thing they are actually missing is a mentor. Sid did have a mentor who he spoke to every week. This gentleman might not have been in the industry but you could still have those conversations. You could still be that person to bounce the idea off.
Right.
So
Yep.
having a mentor, having someone you could call up and say, "My God, Joe, I'm thinking about this in the industry. How anything, or I'm thinking about doing this, or how would you promote this, or what?" Even as we said, wording to promote something is very vital to the community, and that might be all we're missing at the end of the day. It's this
Well,
good
and
mentorship.
as a business owner myself, I have two people that I guess I would call them mentors, but I don't go to them on a regular basis. But if I'm making a big decision, I refer to both of them every time, because like at the end of the day, I'm a graphic designer, but I also run my own. I run a couple of businesses, so it's how do I make that grow without squashing one business, or how do I expand kind of across the board without ticking off one client base? And it's not easy to do. And this is my full-time gig, and I still need to get help for doing it.
Absolutely, and in my own experience with watching Exit of Exile, I've seen kind of those faux pas where we've kind of taken a slight at something. It's like, you should check your wording. One of my, like, again, off of why we should support this, one of my greatest things that kind of did make me angry through the past number of months was, I think it's cool that we're trying to get an online game going, but there's one comment at the end of the video that just kind of made me upset, and that was, "Oh, come, like, introduce, like, saying to people, come play my game," but there's that, "Yeah, I want to play your game," or "No, I'm a loser," and it's like, that's not a great thing to say to people who might be supporting your game, people who might be coming in, learning how to communicate effectively with those players. So we should not, like, I'm in the gaming industry. I work for a distributor.
Right.
One of the biggest things I promote to other stores, my colleagues I talk to, I'm always saying, working together, don't throw shade at people. If someone really doesn't like you in the industry, like any industry, you know at least where they stand. But don't talk bad about something. And I've seen that happen like once or twice. And like, just, again, that's where mentorship comes in. That's where people who are leaders in the industry really can say, "Yeah, that sounds great," or, "Hey, watch your wording on that," so that people do feel welcome when they're doing that. And maybe people have just seen, I don't know, it's something I was saying, and maybe people are like, "Oh, I've seen this wording, or this has been said." It's like, I just don't feel comfortable about it, or I don't feel like I'm part of. I got one said, "Hello, I'm in a conversation with someone at the moment. I'll come see you in a bit." I just have my wife coming in from work. I am talking to a group of people right now. But
Hi.
you can say hi too. But
yeah.
it's one of the things I'm noticing. Again, I don't know. I can be told I'm wrong, but maybe it's just a good mentorship that changes a lot of this out of nowhere. Really gets people feeling that they're part of the community once again. Watching how we say it. Like, you like a game, I'm not going to criticize you for it. It's your game, you love it. I don't know. If someone can tell me I'm wrong, I say that to my boss all the time. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, or maybe I'm wrong, but this is just how I feel at the
end. And I think to that point, there's going to be a lot of things that I say through everything, and if somebody can educate me and explain to me why I'm wrong, I'll own it.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, it happened on the Discord last week, I guess. I had commented that, like, what have you got to lose? If it's something that you'd like to support the game but you're not sure about it, back the Kickstarter, and if it doesn't get funded, you get your money. Now, Shockwave, who I just saw is in the chat now, said that, in the past, Shockwave and Jeff and Jeremy and Damien and Swag Strategy is in here as well. Hello. People can do that last bump for backing so they get everybody else's money and then never do anything. It's a real thing. I backed a project years ago that they raised oodles of money and then never did the project. It's a thing, absolutely. This management, this ownership, that's not something that I'm worried about, and that's easy for me because we know the people, we're in the game, whatever. But it's harder to convince people who maybe don't know the game.
You know what? It's like playing the stock market. You put $1,000 in, you don't know you're going to have $1,000 tomorrow.
That's right.
It could be all gone.
Yep.
We had this conversation earlier. We're in an industry like many industries. If you commit a sin against this industry, people will remember who you are.
Totally.
And Jason is involved with this industry still very heavily.
Yeah.
So,
and has been for years as a Magic judge and a Pokemon professor, and yep.
So he's held in high regards in circles. If like again, this is can't say it happened, can't say it won't. But there's a lot even for him if God forbid he were ever to go that route. There's a lot for him to lose. Because again, this industry doesn't forget who you are, what you've done.
Right.
They will keep tabs on you. Something that you've done many years ago still stays with you. Like Fantasy Flight's a great company, but they still get called out for stuff they did 10 years ago. And that can be even through change of leadership, change of whatever. They still get called out. I know UBS Games, who used to be Jasper, they still get called out for stuff.
The internet doesn't forget.
They don't forget. The difference is, though, as you said, can you pull back and you learn from what happened, right? It's a lot of opinions.
Well, but it's our show. We can do what we want, right? I'm gonna go and check the comments here.
Actually, Shockwave is quite right. Stores do need ambassadors at times. Again, how many cards? Like I was talking to Alex over at Black Knight Games last night, and we were discussing how many active card games there are right now, and how many of them are actually thriving mid and high level games.
Right.
Bandai alone has 4 games out there. That's maybe even more by now. Gundam, Union Arena, Dragon Ball Super, Digimon, which is still going. So when you're at Star Wars, you're at the originals, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. There's 12, 14, 15 games running, as Hulkamania would say, it's running wild at the end of the day. But as you said, if everybody chipped in, even a little bit, everyone who's on the server, the stores, Janice, Jason, like, get those boots on. Let's get to some evergreen growth again, like that real natural growth. Go see those stores, shake their hands. Each of those stores, 10 stores put in at the mega bundle alone. We know there's 10 stores out there that are more likely to have the game, have players there. We're a quarter of the way there already. That's not including the fans getting in.
That's right. If it was one of those things, I guess I kind of touched it at the beginning. If I didn't see this as a possible funding, like I'm not going to pander to them and be like, yeah, I know you guys, and it's 5%, but there's still hope. If I didn't believe that it actually could be done, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Absolutely. I'm just thinking what Shockwave was saying about offering the $1,000 of free product. Every LGS would take the call and hear them out. Yes and no, Shockwave. That's I do agree when you are sending a free product, there are stores that listen. But the follow-up game is really vital to make sure you secure it. And even though doing so they might just walk away from it because, like, again, you're right. If there's an ambassador at the store, it might help further. And that ambassador can say, that's sort of great. We got free product. This is what we can do. But if the follow-up game is not there, it's tough. It really is tough.
And to some people, free means cheap, right? Or free means garbage. Yeah. If you're willing to give me $1,000 of product, what's wrong with it?
Yes, there's that example as well. When you start seeing things on discount, people get concerned.
And that's where it's the job of management to convince them. Oh, it's not that it's garbage; it's that we believe in it so much, we want to promote it, and this is how we can do it right now.
We have product, we want to grow it, and maybe this is going to be a tough debate for them, but you look at games like Star Wars right now, games like Altered, anyone who has product readily available, they kind of taken that little bit of a slump in their play And stores have forgotten what it's like to actually get product on the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, like Star Wars is stabilized, Altered is stabilized. Many games are not stabilized in their product and the inventory they can offer. Genesis is still healthy with product availability.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you like
Well,
selling
look
packs?
at Pokemon, right? Pokemon
Yeah.
did their release a couple sets ago that they didn't even have enough to give every store any, and then of course prices skyrocket just because it's supply and demand. But then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, here's a whole bunch more if you can find it,
Yeah.
and it made it feel more like Magic in the sense that, oh, if you want it, you have to empty your wallet, and
Pokemon,
that's not the market that everybody wants. Nobody can not everybody can afford that.
Like I remember playing Pokemon 2016. It's like I could go to a store, get product, and be on my way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can do that very well right now. It's a little tough still to find
Yeah.
the product, especially when it's a product that is affecting your standard. Final
Right.
Fantasy, another perfect example. Final Fantasy is still hard to find, unless you go to Costco, because they got the mass drop. But other than that, it's still a little rough, and that's standard play.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Genesis will be, from what I can see with this Kickstarter, there's product available. So you come even you say to your best friend, you know what, go drop, I don't know, $500 on a case. Some people don't tell me people won't, because again, people will go buy collector boosters of Final Fantasy. They'll say, yeah, it's worth more money in that. That's great. You're gonna get like one of maybe one of the cards you want out of the 30 or 40 most boxes of Genesis. I've gotten at least one of everything. They're gonna have enough to play there, and then they can go back and get all the old stuff that they really want to build the next one, because it is available. What else we got in there?
Want to give credit to the starters they have now. Yeah, Jeremy's right. The starter decks that they have right now, just as far as being a really great introductory price point, were well built. They're competitive. They are pretty balanced.
We'll turn that around in about a month. This together. Bam, 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 bam. Done. Like, here's the deck.
Yeah.
Gone and go. Like they are great. Throw it to a person. It's like, this is your deck. Play it. And you start swinging right off the bat. Which is hard to say, because some games do. As we had this discussion earlier, games have that trouble with starters.
Yeah.
They seem to be very well balanced.
Or they want to throw in really cool cards that get everybody's attention, but then they throw off the balance of a deck, and it makes it unfair for the other people who want to play against them.
My opinion on starter products. So when it used to be hot on cast game, and my belief was for the release schedule for this game would be, you do a regular set, you do a set of starters, and your set of starters would be, here is 2 new champions, 10 or 20 new cards in these starters. They're only going to be those starters, and then we go on to the next set, and then we rinse, cycle, repeat. Great way, like your new cards, people buy the starters, they'll have new champions. Go from there. I just seen something on Shockwave about Mecha Games doesn't even list Genesis on their site. The problem with doing Genesis on their site might be Shockwave is that we discussed TGC player earlier in that. For them to do that, they're going to have to create that and probably in their binder POS or the option they have selected to manage their store, whether it's Shopify or whatnot as well. So they'd have to create all that product. They might not want to do it because it is absolutely time consuming to do anything online. And I looked at what Steve-O does himself at Heads or Tails. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of manpower. Just even if a couple products get listed, it does take time. Sometimes it's easier to have it on a shelf, and if people want it, pick it up from there.
You can have it. Yep. On a much grander scale, I'm working with a client right now that we're migrating their entire inventory from one point of sale software to a new one. So we've done 85,000 products and like 60,000 customers. I know that's a different scale, but you want to talk about a pain to refine one thing. When you start getting into Genesis with the different boxes, the different starter decks, if you get into singles, doing all of that stuff, you're right, is is a difficult thing to do. It is time consuming, and unless they have it, if there's some sort of a database that can be built down the road, that you can email them a CSV file and they can import that into Shopify. Those are things that can be worked on by management in future releases.
I remember doing Book Manager for my company, and I think we listed 1,700 items on Book Manager. And I'm not to see those images yet. I think they run up where it's like, hey, the match the barcode does automatically load the image. I'm hoping that. Don't tell me they said that. But you can create the file and get all the data in there. It was time consuming. You just have to go through, build the book for them for uploading, making sure it works with the system, making sure my descriptions are in there, making sure the player counts are right, making sure the time amounts are right for the title that we're offering, even trying to get weights in there, trying to creating the book so I can update it for them every few weeks so I can make sure we have the right pricing in there and our quantities might not be 100% accurate, but it says, hey, if we have below X amount of units, we're just going to show it's out of stock. By the time we get the upload, then we'll already be out of stock. So
for sure.
For those files, just to create, it is a lot of work.
Yeah, and to Jeff's follow up to that, he's saying that he thinks there's nothing GBOC on the webpage. And that's something that maybe is another, and I know that it's hard for the two of them, but it's another thing that maybe management and ownership need to do is reach out to the stores who do carry it and just say hey, I'm just curious, is it on your website? Or noticed it wasn't on your website, what can we do to help with that? Do we need to send you the assets, the graphics to make it happen? There are different things that can be done.
That's the weekly OT, right? Hey, yeah, you don't have it on your website? Have you ever thought about putting a post on your website? Great. Hey, how's your stock up? When I used to be an account manager, one of the things I was taught is you're dealing with one of your clients go onto their website, if they're out of stock, you're talking. It's hey, you got this? No, you don't. Well, your website says you're out of stock, so I think you need to restock. Doing stuff like that is a great way to make sure people are always having the product. And you're right, having that conversation. Do you have it posted on your website as well with your other titles? Because you can do that. You can go into your binding test, you can create your. But again, it could be manpower. We might be talking 9 SKUs here for the sealed product, but that still takes time to put all that information in.
Or even a logo that says we sell this game.
That might be
anything like
solution.
That. Yeah, and you don't have the assets, we'll email you the logo to put on there that you need.
There's a perfect idea. There's a perfect idea right. Janice, Jason, if you're listening right now, create a product. If you don't have it yet, if you do, amazing. If you don't, any asset you have a spot on your webpage where stores can go in or anyone and use those assets. You might have someone who wants to host a tournament at a store that might not carry it, but they're going to get the space to host it. They can print off those assets so that people know to come and play Genesis, or just for stores to use themselves. I believe Fantasy Flight's doing that with Star Wars Unlimited. You can go in and do a spot on their site and actually print the asset. So if you don't have it, do it.
Yeah, and that phone call to the store also reminds them that you exist, right? Because they may know that you exist, but they're so busy in the cloud of what the business is that if you go, hey, it's whoever from whatever game, and they go, oh yeah, we like that game, we want to get more in. I forgot to order some last month or whatever. It reminds them that you're there.
It's old sales 101, and I'm sure we all forget it.
We absolutely do.
And my jokes with my manager sometimes it's picking up that phone and saying, "Hey Joe, how's the weekend? How's the kids? That's amazing. Cool, I got your order, but it's how's your ticket to ride? How's your Universus? How's your this and that?" Because sometimes they are not on their orders, and sometimes they have not looked at their shop. And sometimes we just say that they take a peek at their stuff, oh my gosh, Joe, actually yes, I did need 3 copies of this game, or 3 displays of this game because I'm actually out of stuff.
And the store that I'm working with right now that I'm helping, they have 7 or 8 staff. So one of the staff might sell something, doesn't tell the other staff, so it never makes it to the office, so they never order it. But if you're talking to the ordering manager, the office manager, they go, oh, I didn't realize we're out of that.
Not every store is running a highly detailed POS system that tells
No,
them every one of their sales. So that's
nope.
something that we always have to remember.
So
Uh,
something Jeff is saying here, he's reiterated here. I don't think Will gets the true credit he deserves. Will is brilliant. There's so much he's able to do behind the scenes no one knows about, and I fear stuff he's done will never see print. 100% agree. Also, as a human being, Will is a stand-up guy.
Will's my twin.
You guys are
And Joe.
identical.
Absolutely. Like if you, this is gonna sound, I don't know, maybe awkward, but if you really like Will, you think he's a stellar guy, back this. You will see his machinations come together to a different level of Genesis. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Will is Alex Miller started breaking the mold once Will got the reins. Will brought the data with him as well. And that's what he's done. He's breaking the mold with the data. Saying, this
So
is
what
how
their
things
slogan should be is, if you like Will, back this project.
Like, would Will allow us to do that?
I don't know.
put his little, I'm seeing his little face on my screen right now, his little animated one in that, or his cartoon one. It's like, we just slap that there. It's like, if you think Will's a stellar guy, back Metamorphosis right now. Let's go. 100%. Let's do it.
I thought for sure you were going to say, if you think Will's a great guy, you should meet Joe.
If you think Will's a great guy, this fun. Joe guy, amazing. Amazing. Both stellar lads. Lads or gents? Lads. Gents.
Yeah.
Gents. Yeah, I think we upgraded from lads. I'm just starting to see what else the chat is saying. My LGS has miniatures. They show up that night. 10 minutes. You know what, Shockwave? Any store that does miniatures as a core. Again, Mecha Games comes to mind. There is one or two I know out the Niagara way as well that kind of were doing miniatures as core. This fits in quite nicely as an alternative for miniature players who might not want to go into the full big game or their full big nets game. This fits kind of nicely into that miniatures realm, but not a miniatures realm. So still getting that strategy kick that you like, but in simple cards.
Yeah, you've got the movement and strategy that really tie into that.
Yeah. Forward position. Everything's position. You take your spot, you hope for the best.
Yeah.
Sure.
Airboy, hello. I agree, Airboy.
You said about you sent your LGS info to them to reach out, and it didn't happen. I think Janice is still in the servers. If you reached out to your store, they might not have. Reached out to Janice, I'd reach out to her again to say, hey, this is probably important. Because I remember Carl doing the same thing with me, where he's like, hey, I got arcane hobbies out like that London way. He's like, who really like, yeah, say what you want about Carl. I know he can be very critical on the views of Edgevex and all that, and his opinions are his own. But I'll give him ample credit where even till this day, he is still showing this game and saying, this is why you want to. So again, reach out to Janice, say, Janice, my LGS, please reach out to them. Just keep asking at this point. Because we don't know what's happening in their personal lives. They're two people running a company, and it's hard to, I think what we forget sometimes is that they still have bills to pay, they still have a kid to raise, they need to put food on their tables. And it's hard sometimes to go balls to the wall on something in situations. Sid might have been in a better position to do so. They might not be. So, again, just making sure that communication is happening. Say, hey, I reached out. Have you reached out? And again, same to your LGS. Just having the other talk. Hey, just want to make sure they reached out to that, because I can reach out to them as well.
Yeah, it's hard to grow and to expand a business when you're doing it full time and that's your only gig, which is, I speak from experience there. When you are working as well, like you said, raising a family, doing all the other stuff, and trying to to get by, whether you've got $1 million in the bank or $50 in the bank. It's hard to do.
Yes.
And people have their opinions on the changing of the guard and whatever happened. At the end of the day, put that aside and look at the game. Because I'm sure if we looked into the origins of Apple or the current ownership of the McDonald's restaurant near your house or whatever, we would find things we don't like about them, but we still go back to those products.
Hey, you know what? How did Ray Crockett get into McDonald's? Started buying up all the land around him and slowly applied pressure.
Yeah.
Not a great technique for sure. Really,
it's a bully. It's a bullyish technique.
It's a bullying method. Mm-hmm. But then we all go to McDonald's and grab our Big Macs anyways. if we hold everybody's mistakes against them all the time, people won't ever get a second chance, right? Mm-hmm. As well to try to make things better. Jeff is saying they're doubling down on the chess with cards. I have noticed that, and I think that comes back to what I was saying earlier and what Joe and I were discussing. It might be just that mentorship, someone else to have a view. With Jeff no longer the company, they might have lost that opposing view, and sometimes you need someone else to bounce off of who's not your partner, your spouse, your friend for 30 years. Even more so, your spouse. Remember,
you need to be told no.
Night, so you're going to always be usually on the same page with that. But again, having mentorship, and that I think might be one of the keys to really changing the tone and really taking Genesis to the experience that either people loved in the past or taken to a whole brand new experience.
Right. I think that
wow.
It's the common group that we all talk to in the Discord and here as well, and I'm glad that you guys have joined us tonight too. And those of you, if you're lurking and not taking part in the chat, that's also cool. If you're just kind of taking it all in and making some decisions on your own. Entrepreneurs do a lot that is not easy work, but if you want it to succeed, you need to put in the work. You do need to put in the work, but there's also stuff that is ultimately a lot more difficult to do than just saying I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to just do the work. I'm going through a big growth right now with my business, and it means putting in another 30 hours a week on top of the already 60 hours a week I'm doing. When John and I were talking before we went live, he asked what games I'm playing. And I was like, I'm not playing anything right now. The only TCG stuff I do is with Brian on Tuesdays to open things. And I go, oh, I'd like to play that game. And then it gets put aside. So, yes, you have to put in the work, but there are only so many hours in a day that we all have. And, the old adage that people are like, well, Beyonce also only had 24 hours in a day. Yeah, but she also had 72 helpers, right?
And Jeremy made a comment about, it's like, yeah, and what you were saying, Joe, you can work smart, but again, there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
Again, if you're spending 8 to 10 hours, let's take Jason's schedule right now. If he's working a full 40-hour week, that's 40 hours. I think he works with Jackson Queen. Shout out to Jackson Queen. They are absolutely amazing people. The Ashcrofts, that I've had a chance to have dinner with a husband and that before. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But if he's working 40 hours a week, he still has to travel to work. Probably about 20 minutes to half an hour every day. Doesn't matter how close the store is to where he lives. You got that travel time. You still got to put in, again, those 8 hours. You got your family to look after as well. Mm-hmm. Plus this project. It is absolutely hard to optimize.
Yeah. Now, if you all back it to the $600,000 mark, and they both get to take 2 years off and focus on this as their full-time job, that's a whole other thing. But we're not in that situation right now.
Jeff is saying he's not at Jackson anymore. I still seeing him. He announced it. Cool. So I'm definitely behind on some of my stuff. I live under a rock sometimes, Jeff. I don't mind admitting I live under a rock. But even still, let's just do any full-time job he's doing. Unless he's going balls to the wall on this, 80 hours a week. But if that's the case, then I would expect something a little different. That's maybe a little bit critical, but I would expect something a little different. So I'm assuming he's still working probably 40 hours a week.
Yeah, he is still working. Yep.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
just trying to see if there's any other comments here. Jeff's right. Like, how many times do a fan have to ask? Really, at the end of the day, a fan really shouldn't have to ask a company really anything. At the end of the day, I don't want to say companies should be always listening and doing what fans want, but they should be always keeping an ear to the ground on how the community is. At the end of the day, if you always listen to all the fans, that you end up in a situation where we end up with Future League back 3 years ago with too many voices on that and problems. That being said, if a fan is asking something, everything should always be taken, at least with a grain of salt, and you hear it again, you should probably think about it more if you're hearing about it a second time, especially with from someone else.
Well, and I think if you've reached out to an LGS or reached out to a company about an LGS, and maybe they did call and got a voicemail or somebody was busy and it just never recirculated again. Those things absolutely happen. I get calls all the time that says, "Oh, I called you 2 weeks ago. You never got back to me." And I go, "Oh, I just didn't have time to do it or whatever." And that's not good on me. But it is something that happens.
To play video and feel them to learn things. Hey, are we talking like Joey, like US Joey? Like he was certainly passionate about it. I don't think he'll ever touch the property again for what happened. I think EOE did make him whole in one way, shape, or form, or tried their best to. But unfortunately, I think Joey has more than moved on. I wish his passion was still around. But again, he was one of those people who did take a heavy burn in the transition. And again, despite being made whole, he's pleasantly moved on. I know he had a newborn at that point as well.
That's right. I do recall that, yeah.
So, would it be great to have someone in the U.S., especially hitting that drum, grabbing that banner and running? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, even if things have, we've gone our separate ways and shook a hand, I don't think that'll ever happen again. And if Joey is listening to this video, hey Joey, what's up? Hope the little one's doing great. Hope you're doing great. I hope life is smashing. Yeah. Did I say smashing?
Absolutely.
We were doing all the shoutouts tonight. Like, we're just nailing it as well.
Well, and
we should start to wrap up though. We are getting late.
What time is it? Oh yeah, it's 8:43. Thanks to everybody for sticking around. If you mention it to your LGS and say, "I would love to get this game in," do the other side too. Message Janice on the Discord, or send an email to EOE and say, "Hey, I dropped your name with this LGS," because they may not know of all the LGSs that are around. Of course, there's so many. Mention it to your LGS. Also mention it to Janice, so that way when they call and speak to whoever it was that you mentioned it to, they can go, "Oh yeah, right. I remember one of my customers mentioning it." So it's not just a random cold call. It's not just
brutal.
Oh, they suck.
So, absolutely suck.
Yeah. So if it's somebody who's already been made aware of your game, because they may not know about it, that little bit of just saying hello to your LGS will help secure at least a bit of a connection or familiarity with EOE when they call.
And if your LGS runs open tables at times as well, and you and your friends are there, whip out a game of Genesis. Play it. People will look at games while you're playing and see what's going on.
And they won't recognize it, and they'll go, "What is that?"
They won't recognize it, but what they'll say is, "Hey, that's cool. Those things are actually moving around the board. What's going on? How is this going on?
Yeah.
What is this?" People will ask those questions. And that's sometimes the starting point of going down the rabbit hole, as we say.
For sure. The hole that we all fell in.
Absolutely. So let's end on some positive notes here. We've had our critical moments. We've kept everything quite, I'll use the term kosher on how we talked about it. We've been respectable. We've been critical where we need to. things that we think might be going on. Joe, what? Why should people be going into this game?
Because I'm begging you. No, you know what? Like I mentioned before, it was a game that I had no. It was a whole world that I had no interest in is playing TCGs. My dad and I played chess a lot growing up, and so when I found that mechanic, like you said, moving across the board, that's what sold me on this. And the majority of the community that I've met, either in person or virtually, have been stellar. They've been supportive in me trying to complete some collections. If I'm looking for something, you always get messages saying, "Hey, I've got that. Have you got this? Let's make some trades." Even if there's like a value differential, if something's worth $10, something's worth $6, it's like, yeah, but that's something we both need. Let's just do it. The community is great, and when the game is thriving, the community feels like they're getting the bang for their buck, the value, financially and also just emotionally, viscerally with the gameplay. Everybody is just super supportive. And it's not a pay-to-play system or pay-to-win system the way that other games are. You can, like you said, you can buy one booster box and be all set. You can buy the starter decks, as Jeremy said, and you're good to play. It's just super cool. Yeah.
It's hard to find experience nowadays. 100%. You will not find the experience of buying a booster box and being able to start building up like we can in Genesis.
Right.
But continue. You're on a roll here. Let's do this.
I'm just passionate. And if it wasn't a game I believed in and wasn't people that I believe in, I wouldn't have taken them on as a client to design the backs of the cards. Right? And I've had clients who've come to me before for other projects and said, "Hey, I want you to do this." And I've said, "Sorry, I don't have the bandwidth to do it right now." Where the truth is, I don't want to support what you're doing or you as an individual or whatever. That's absolutely not the case in this situation. These are people who, like Janice and Jason, are passionate about the card game world. We mentioned Jason being a professor and a judge. Having an LGS, working in LGS. He's got the experience. He's got the know-how. They have the drive to make it happen, and I think that they can have all the drive in the world, and without the community, it's not going to work. And the community can have all the passion in the world, but without the management side of things, it's not going to work. It needs to be a synergy, and I think that contributing to this Kickstarter will help to kind of build that up. And they've got one set out. They haven't been given a full chance to show what the real future of the game can hold.
Absolutely.
That's my soapbox.
That's your soapbox. So I'll go with my original saying, and it's there on the Kickstarter. Thank goodness. Genesis is the premier tactical collectible card game. It is the first of its kind. No more sitting on a battlefield and your cards just laying there. Your cards, where they move, how they move, will affect your game. With Metamorphosis is going to escalate Invasion even further. You're going to see flip champions. You're going to see more powerful abilities. You're going to be able to move around like you haven't before. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to arm yourself with your weapons and your equipment and take those to battle with you as well. Metamorphosis' design it's Genesis's next evolution, is what it is at the end of the day. Like Invasion's great. This is pushing it further. We're getting away from all that text and that slowly, where it's, hey, we can't do this. It's not anymore about, hey, it doesn't work in the confines of the game, to let's make it happen. And that's what Metamorphosis is. Let's make it happen. Let's have that change. Let's play a whole new way on the board that we love.
And it's one card, one mechanic, but when I saw the High Tide card and the way that when things change and you get rid of your Axon cards, you get one more row of awareness. I was like, that's super cool. And like, I know I'm a total geek about this, but I just got goosebumps saying like how cool that card is. Yeah. So we're going to be able to see these kind of things with the game's growth.
Absolutely.
I want to just check the comments again as we're kind of ending this. Buy the best meta deck and still not win because it's more strategic than its cards. Absolutely. There's so much strategy. There's so much just fun gameplay.
My my
Yeah.
funniest story, my funniest story is Devo running up to me in 2019. He's like, "I got this deck. I'm gonna win." Da, 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 da. And that's when we have the challenge deck, and I'm playing Malik, and I wreck him, and his heart just sinks. And it's not always about having the best cards, and that kind of knowing how to play them. All your Tiger got a really good show that day.
My only
Oh,
claim to fame along that side is I was playing Brian against a game one time, playing against Brian a game one time, and I built a glass cannon. It either, if it went off, it was stellar, and if it didn't, it was a mediocre deck. And 5 or 6 games, it was a mediocre deck. And then the one time I played with Brian, by the end of the first round, he had 1 health left. And then when the next round started, I swifted. And, like, there was no way around it, and it went off really well. And I know that it's a rarity, but man, does it feel good when you can make something happen like that.
and you know what? Shockwave does bring up one good point I'd like to point out. He's like, I think if they rebooted launch the Kickstarter, new people would be more interested. He is right. This is a re. This I don't want to say it's a reimagining of the world. Um, it's not the world that we know or the world we knew. And that is a good point. Like again, it comes back to why we have mentors and stuff like that to get people who bring different views. Treating it as it's still very new as a game, and not that it unless it's really deep origin. It's like this is new. You want it. Let's get it out.
So the
So,
core message we've learned today, as we end it in the next 8 minutes, um, if you like Will, back the game.
yeah,
If you like TCGs and you are a fan of Genesis and the history of Genesis, back the game.
absolutely.
I'll stand by what we talked about before, Shockwave, when I said that you've got nothing to lose by backing it, even if it doesn't succeed. There's that little possibility, but it's not likely. I can't guarantee it, obviously, but back the game. If you've put whatever $100 or $500 into it and it doesn't succeed, at least you know that you tried to make the next step of this game succeed. If you don't, and then the game folds, you can't go, well, I guess it didn't stand a chance. No, you didn't support it the way that it needs the support from all of us in order to make it fly.
I remember buying this game back in 2018, and I remember playing. I think it might have been beta at the time, and I'm like, this game dies tomorrow. I have a unique game anyways, and that was my opinion at one point. And if people, again, as you said, are they're really that concerned, oh my gosh, what's happened? They don't make it, or this and that. Let's be honest. That is every game you play. You can say, hey, yeah, Magic's not that way. If I go back into Magic, a set can be really bad. And you could put a lot of money into that set. The game could go into a recession and cause a lot of damage, and that's every game. Or a game could die. Like, it's the risk you take every day when you play a card game. Are you playing it for this instant value or to have value? Are you playing it as the game?
Mm-hmm.
Those are things you have to think about. I'm picking up Genesis, I'm picking it up as a game. That is simple as that. I do not care what the value of the cards are.
Mm-hmm.
If a card is $20, huzzah! I made $20 off my pack.
Yeah.
But in the game, at the end of the day, I'm playing the game because it's a game and it's fun.
Yeah, TCG math, right? I bought a Pokemon box for $300 and I pulled $27 worth of cards out of it. Right? If that's what you're going for, great. But that's not why I think we're here with Genesis.
No, and I don't think that's how Genesis should be treated. At the end of the
No.
day, if I'm getting foily stuff, I'm getting it because it looks cool, it looks special,
Yep.
it looks neat. I don't want it to be the hindrance in my game. Think about it this way: three rarities in this game: common, uncommon, rare. But Jan, there's epic. Makes no difference. You get an epic, you're just getting a pimped out. Doesn't affect your game. So.
And on that note, and I'll leave it at that, is the art just keeps getting better and better.
Absolutely.
Like,
You're not
it's
wrong.
just the change from Origins to Invasion
Yep.
was tenfold. And seeing some of the art in the spoilers and stuff for the next set, again, it keeps going like this. So if we back it and we get this going, we're going to see better and better and better as it goes on.
And the game's just going to get better. There's so much, like, I'm hoping this goes well. I'm hoping Will gets a call and say, "Hey, Will, we need you. We need you." I'm hoping that that bridge is not burned anywhere, because there's a craft that's happening in design of this game, and by supporting this Kickstarter, you will start to see that crafting happen where the game is going to go.
Awesome.
And again, art, the art, all the art.
John, thank you for co-hosting with me tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks for showing me how to get this running on OBS and Discord.
Thank you for taking the time just to have an honest chat.
Yeah.
I don't think we're having enough of this at the moment, and it's nice just to have a chat. It feels like a chat amongst friends of really why we're in this endeavor together.
This is the kind of discussion I thrive to have on the Discord. Right?
Absolutely.
Maybe we need to have a channel on the Discord that's called General Bitching, and people can just go on there and say all the stuff they need to say, but keep everything, supportive and optimistic and real in the chat.
You know what? You can always have constructive criticism. You can be harsh on someone. Before we go, I had a talk with Steve a few months ago about a few things, and there were some really critical things said, and some of them could have been really harsh. And I said to him, like, I'm not saying it. I'm not going to curse you out on it. I'm not going to say something slanderous against you. That I'm always like, they can be critical with being careful as well. You can, like, hey, this is a terrible idea, but you know what? This is why I think it's a terrible idea. This is my concern. Because I want you to do better. We can have those critical conversations. Name calling, cursing, overly bitching about little things is not constructive. It probably does more damage than anything.
Right, and the 400 people, the 400 people in the Discord are quiet because a lot of it is like, I don't want to take part in all this complaining and cursing and whatever else. If we can temper that down, maybe those 400 people get engaged again. Right? Yeah. I know not all of them will come back. Shockwave is a good example. He and I don't agree on everything, but we've never had bad words. We've had discussions, and that's what it needs to be.
At the end, it's like we deal in everyday life.
Yeah,
I can say, Joe, I think you're a complete nutcase for that idea, but at the end of the day, it's like, respect where you're coming from. I can shake your hands, like, we can have this conversation.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Jeff says, thanks, guys, for doing this. It's nice to be able to be a part of it. You're both very open, honest, and diplomatic about things. Very refreshing. Genesis-related content, live chat with friends. That's what we need. Honesty can hurt, but it's still honest. Yeah, for sure. I want the game to succeed. Yeah.
Everybody does. And you know, when you're being honest with someone, I said honesty can hurt. Honesty can hurt, but say, this is why I'm saying this. This is what I've seen. Be transparent when you're being honest and why you're saying something to someone. If you just are critical and walk away and don't add any more feedback beyond that, you're probably not helping much either.
No.
Jason, Janet, please go find, if you don't have a mentor, go get a mentor. Critical. Why? Because I believe a mentor will really shape the project. That's criticism with deep.
Right.
And maybe we need to be doing more of that.
Yeah. So, everybody, thank you so much for being part of it. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys giving us a chance to use the Imperial Pulse platform to share kind kind of our love for the game. And thank you for all the questions and comments, everything else. JC, if you've got any closing words, I'll let you have the table.
I'll see you in the arena.
There you go. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.